On today's podcast, I had one of my former teammates from high school who has accomplished way more than me in the game of baseball. He has won an MVP, he's won a World Series, he's won Rookie of the Year, he was with the Chicago Cubs, and now he's a free agent, none other than Kris Bryant. And Kris and I talked a lot about mindset in this podcast. We talked about how he has overcome adversity to have the success he's had. It was good to hear on my end that even a guy as talented as him still struggles with the same self-doubt, the same, failures that we have. But in order to achieve that success, he's able to get over that hump and continue to push forward and have a ton of success. So we go over that. We go over kind of some things he's doing on the investing side. We go over what it's like facing the best players in the world and how to adapt in the game of baseball and how we can adapt in the game of business as well. So it's a great episode. Make sure you stay to the end. Now, let's jump into it. Are you looking to grow your real estate investing business? My company, Future Flipper, can help. We've taught hundreds of people all over the country how to flip, wholesale, and buy rental properties. And it doesn't matter where you're at in your investing journey. Whether you're trying to get your first deal or scale your company, Future Flipper can help. We have courses, coaching, and events for all levels of investors. So if you want to take the next step, go to futureflipper.com and book a free consultation to see how we can best help you. Once again, that's futureflipper.com. If you've ever wanted to invest with me on my real estate deals, it's now possible. At Pineda Capital, we're purchasing value-add real estate all across the country. This includes multifamily, commercial, and land development. The best part is, with my network, social media presence, and marketing strategies, we're able to get the very best deals that others don't have access to. You can join in with me on those deals if you're an accredited investor. If you want to learn more, head over to pinedacapital.com to see our current opportunities. Once again, that's pinedacapital.com. Welcome to the Ryan Pineda Show, where our mission is to invest.
I only expect to make money in things that I understand.
Innovate.
It's about believing in the future and thinking that the future will be better than the past.
And inspire. I am much more likely to hit my goal just due to putting it out there.
You're now rocking with the best.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Ryan Pineda Show. Today, I've got me an athlete on the show. Most of the time I got these business dudes, but I love talking to athletes, especially when they're as successful as my guest today. This man is somebody that I've known since he was 14 years old, actually, which is crazy to think about. Jeez. And back then we were in high school together. I was a senior. He was a freshman. And I'll tell you this, when I was a senior, I remember looking at him as a 14-year-old, and he was already like 6'2". I was like, dude, this dude's going to be a first rounder. I know it. And then to see him, what he's become since then was far better than just a first rounder. And he has won a World Series title, an MVP. I think you were the first person ever to be the college player of the year, the minor league player of the year, the rookie of the year, the MVP, that's crazy, dude. I got none other than Kris Bryant. What's up, man?
That's good to be here, man. Geez, you made me feel pretty old. 14. What was that, 15 years ago? Jeez.
We were golfing a couple of weeks ago, and we were actually saying that. I was like, yeah, dude, we're young, and we're actually not that young anymore.
No, I was talking to my wife about this the other day, too. It was like, I wonder, what people think of, when you walk down the street with, your kid. Do you, look like the cool, like the younger dad? Or are you still, are you the old dude walking? I'm certainly feeling old, definily.
Yeah, well, because we were talking, our buddy Chasen, who also, went to high school with us and got to the big leagues and still playing. I'm like, Chasen, dude, you'll get a job. You're young. You're going to be killing it. He's like, dude, I'm already over 30. It's
in baseball, I guess that's getting older,
yeah,
which is crazy.
And I thought about it because I was like, yeah, I retired when I was 27. And I feel young because I'm in business where everyone is older.
Right.
And but then I was like, yeah, I guess for baseball, dude, once you turn 30, you're people look at you different.
Yeah. You surround yourself with the people that kind of puts you in the right position to succeed. My trainer in the off season makes me feel a whole lot younger than I am. So that's obviously a plus. But yeah, it's crazy. You see some of these, especially the young kids nowadays in baseball. It's like, holy cow, they're 19, 20 years old. Juan Soto, he's I don't know if he's 21 yet, and he's doing what he does. It's impressive. It's really impressive.
Yeah, dude. So that guy, oh my gosh, you can't even. he won't swing at a ball.
I envy his at bats. I watched him. I mean, it's just so much fun to watch. He's gonna, man. I mean, from what he's been doing so far, I mean, he's on an impressive trajectory in his career.
Yeah, dude. They say he's like Ted Williams, and like legit, he is.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah. So, obviously on this podcast, it's entrepreneur focused and business focused, and I think there's a lot of things that you can share about just achieving high levels of success, and then even like the business side off the field, because we've talked a lot about that, and you're like, I'm more focused on just playing baseball. Like I don't like doing this social media thing, and you've got millions of followers, and you're still like, I just want to play baseball, dude. So before we get into like the business side and stuff, like just tell me, for anyone who's listening, like how did you get to where you're at today, dude? Like a world champ, freaking all those accolades. Like how did it happen?
Yeah. I mean, that's a really great question. I feel like I have great answers to that. It's just like I look back on my career and just life in general, and how motivated I was from just a very early age. I mean, 8 years old, my grandparents would give me $20 for every homer I hit, and kind of gets motivated by money right here, which is crazy. But then, not just baseball. I mean, on the academic side, my grandparents would give me $100 every straight A report card too. So it's like that motivation was built into me at like a young age, and sometimes it takes money to buy your whatever Pokemon cards, and that's what I was doing at that time. But it was just the motivation and the desire to not accept failure. And all I did growing up was I just played baseball, and I worked really hard at it. I had a lot of fun doing it too. I think that's a big you need to have fun in what you do, not just sports, but on the business side of what you do too, you have to really enjoy it. And but I just really felt like I wasn't going to accept anything but greatness, and I still am that way. I can't stand losing. I can't stand getting out in baseball. There's just that burning desire in me to just not accept it and keep going. And sometimes it's a little, I am pretty hard on myself when it comes to that, but it's just who I am, and it's made me pretty successful.
Yeah, I got you to where you're at today. I mean, I know you're a very humble guy, one of the most humble stars that there is, for sure. And I remember in high school, you were the valedictorian, right?
I was second. I got 1B. 1B.
What was the B in?
Pre-calculus.
Oh, there you go, dude.
Mr. Weezer.
Oh, dude, I think I had Weezer.
Did you have pre-calculus?
Yeah.
You probably did.
Yeah.
I was like a 89.3 or something.
Mr. Weezer screwed you, dude.
But he did. And
no slack.
I'm kind of happy he did a little bit, because it was like, a blemish in my life that I hated accepting that, but it's there, and it was like, it's a cool story to tell now, because I remember the teacher, the class, the grade, everything about it, and it's like, I still look back on that, man, I could have done better there.
I could have got an A.
Yeah, I could have got an A.
Like, all I had to do was get one more question right.
Exactly. I could have done something, but
yeah. Well, and it just goes back to, like, if you're going to do something, you're taking pride, and you want to be like the very best at doing that. So if it was going to school, if it was playing baseball, we were
board games.
We're out on the golf course, and I don't even know what you shot last time, but like, you're like a scratch golfer already. You're like, yeah, I think I might do the PGA later,
Oh, a ton of respect for those pro golfers, but it's like, I think in baseball too, every ball player has like a dream of like being a rock star or like a golfer. A lot of us want to be golfers, and it's like, you know what? I think if I put the same desire and like willpower into being a baseball player that I would into golf when I'm done playing baseball, I could totally do it.
Yeah.
It's just that having that confidence in yourself to do it.
And you got to want to do it. You got, like you said too, you got to enjoy whatever it is you're trying to do.
Absolutely. And I really do enjoy golf.
Yeah, dude, golf is fun, man.
I just came from golfing today, actually, with Raleigh Fingers, Hall of Famer.
Does he live here in Vegas?
He lives here in Vegas. Yeah, his son is a caddy over at the club that we're at, and we got out there and played, and it's pretty fun. Playing with a Hall of Famer. I'm like pinching myself. I'm like, you got Greg Maddox that lives here in Vegas. Raleigh Fingers, like two of the best pitchers in the game of baseball. And it's like, yeah, let's go play some golf. Like, and it's like, that's cool that they want to be around me. And, but that was a fun experience for me today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got all these, older guys who lived here. Currently you got you and Bryce Harper and, Joey Gallo, then a whole bunch of other guys too. It's like, man, to see all these Vegas and like Vegas born people too, not just coming to live here in the off season to avoid taxes. Like,
of course,
born here.
Yeah. I felt like in high school, maybe you can speak to this too. I felt like Vegas was a very underrated baseball city. I mean, there was just tons of talent when we were in high school. I don't know what it's like now, but it's like they're not just guys who've actually made it, but guys who like got drafted and became professionals in the game. And it's like you could put together, probably 100 players in the city that really did something in this game. And that's impressive.
Yeah, super impressive for the size of Vegas. And it's not like people were migrating to Vegas to go play sports.
No, not at all.
Like if you see it happen in like Texas and Florida, they're like, yeah, we got to go to this high school or whatever. Like it doesn't happen in Vegas.
No one's coming here to play summer ball when it's 110 degrees out.
Exactly, dude.
The sun's just beating on you.
So, you go through high school, and like I said, when I saw you, I was like, he's going to be a first rounder. And my inclination was you were going to be a first rounder out of high school because you were already just physically there. And that didn't end up happening. Like, tell me about that.
Yeah, I think the draft and how it works, how it still works when you're in high school is, teams aren't really going to want to, take a risk on you early on if they don't know that you're going to sign for sure. And I obviously had the grades to go along with some skill in baseball and committed to USD, which is a very good academic school. So, I felt like they just didn't know if I would sign. And I probably wasn't going to anyway because academics was always important to me and my family, and I really wanted something that I could fall back on in case baseball didn't work out, so I went to USD, and it was probably the best decision I've ever made because, when I went there, I saw my baseball, skills go to a whole nother level, and not just that. I got 3 years of a pretty dang good education in one of the best cities.
Yeah, you got to live in San Diego, just hang out.
This country, so it was a blast. It really was.
Yeah. It's funny because, out of USD, you were the second overall pick. Should have been first, but but I just remember watching it because I was still playing at the time. And I was like, dude, he's about to be the number one overall pick. And then, you were number two. Like, what was your feeling on that? Dude, to go number two, you're like, man, I'm freaking pretty good. But, obviously, knowing your personality, you wanted to be number one.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to, me eating the bee in Mr. Weezer's class. But it's kind of like it's not. Being the second overall pick is just insane. Like growing up, playing club baseball, I could have never dreamed of being, winning a Golden Spikes and doing well in college, and then going on to be the second pick. I just wanted to get drafted.
Right.
And if anybody can make a living playing this game, that's just something that nobody gets the chance to say that they really got a chance to do. And, but yeah, I guess it's another one of those motivations that I guess I fell short in not being the first pick, but second was pretty good, and it worked out pretty good for me.
Yeah, you ended up in an organization where, you're able to accomplish all of these things that we talked about. Now I know one of the big things was them holding you back. Right? That was such a huge, I remember watching that controversy, and it was, for those you don't know, basically in baseball, they can hold back, the minor leaguers, and basically they only got to hold them for a week or 10 days or something.
Right.
And they gain an extra year of control over them essentially. And that was kind of what happened to you, but nobody's allowed to say that's the reason. That's the whole premise of it.
True.
And, but they're like, oh, Kris needs to work on his defense or something. Okay, his defense is good a week later.
Yeah. It's funny how you described it really great. I mean, obviously you have a baseball background too, and you know how some of these things work. But it's like that's exactly what. It's kind of funny looking back on it now. But yeah, I guess that's what happened, and it was just a huge story at the time, and even recently too, it was a huge story. But you know, I mean, I'm a firm believer in like in my career in general is just how everything really happens for a reason.
Right.
And, you know, the struggles that come along with this game and just life and just having the right perspective on things that are thrown your way is just key in my success and in a lot of other people's success too. So, you know, I can look back on that time and be like, you know, oh, whatever, hurt about it and whatnot. But it's, you know, I look back on it and it's just part of my journey.
Yeah. And I mean, it ended up working out in all ways. Like we said, that year, even though they held you back, you still got Rookie of the Year. The next year, you guys win the World Series and you get the MVP.
Yep.
So, like, you know, it's hard to argue. You know, it sucks. And maybe, you know, I guess ethically is probably not the right word, but it's like, look, you know, in baseball, it's a business. And me on the business side now, too, and looking at it, I'd be like, yeah, you know.
You would have held me back.
Yeah, you know, it is what it is. Like, hey, these are the rules. I don't make them. I just play by them.
That's funny.
But it's funny. Yeah, it is funny. But now you guys are like, MLB's in a lockout now, and you know you're in your first time in free agency. Like that's crazy, dude. Like, just how weird is it in the offseason not knowing where you're gonna go next year?
Yeah, I guess it is a little different. You know, but yeah, we are in a lockout and you can't talk to any teams during this time. But yeah, honestly, like this whole offseason it's gone by fast. It's gone by really fast. There's a lot of excitement early on too with a lot of guys signing, but yeah, this is a complete different area of my life that I'm in right now and part of my journey, and I'm really just enjoying this moment. I mean, see my son, he's really growing up right now too, and he's, you know, making a mess of the house and running everywhere, which is a whole lot of fun, and he's really keeping me on my toes. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a weird situation to be in, but this is what you play for. You play to get to this point in your career,
right? And
it'd be foolish for me not to just really take this all in and really enjoy it.
Yeah, 100%. It's interesting because, you know, like it was just a year and a half ago. You know, the teams were saying COVID and this and that, and you know, you guys had like a 60-game season, and all the teams are like, dude, we're going to lose money. We don't even want to play. And players are like, we need a full salary. And like, there's this whole debate. And I remember looking at it, and I did a video on YouTube. It was literally the worst video I've ever done on YouTube because no one cared. They're like, we don't want you to learn about freaking baseball, dude. Like, we want to flip houses and stuff. And I was like, well, here's the deal. Like, this whole thing is so dumb because of XYZ. And it was just like, you know, I gave my opinion on it. And you see, like, that year, all the teams are so scared. They're like, we don't know what's going to happen with COVID. Like, we're not giving any contracts. We're not dishing out money. And then, you know, a year and a half later, everybody's rich. Like, freaking, you have inflation. Everyone got all this free money. All the billionaires got richer because they owned all these assets that went up in value. And then, you know, it's just a totally different tune. Ain't nobody crying poor anymore.
Right. Yeah, and I think you look at it, yeah, obviously 2020 was, honestly, playing through that season was one of the, I mean, obviously a lot of things were going on and people were sick and like things were going on that were really bad, and then just playing through that season, it was the weirdest thing that I've ever.
No people in the stands.
No people in the stands.
It's like a friggin' spring training game every day.
Yeah, well, in like a minor league spring training game on the backfield where you can hear what the other team in the dugout is actually saying, which is crazy. And we've had some back and forth that season where, you know, we didn't really appreciate what other teams were saying and stuff like that. But then you look at this year and things starting to open up more, and I think you just really have to like owe it to the fans for showing up and spending their hard-earned money and, you know, on all the crazy stuff that come with the going to a sporting event nowadays with the parking and the $10, you know, drinks and hot dogs. And it's just like I walk out on the field and I see all these people in the stands and I'm like, man, it's like it's a real honor to play in front of people who spend their hard-earned money and want to just come watch me play a baseball game. And it's a lot of us, we have to really owe it to them to put owners in a position to be able to pay, you know, a guy like Corey Seager the contract that he got, and you know, not just him but everybody else before this lockout happened.
Yeah, they said there was like almost $1 billion in contracts given for the lockout. It's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of money,
dude. These owners, they got some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I actually did a podcast just talking about how business and baseball are so similar, you know, because it's like from the owner's perspective, if you put a good product on the field, aka a good team, good management, everything, theoretically, if you're winning and you have a good environment, fans should come.
Right.
And then fans will spend money. It'll make you more money as the owner. You can invest more into your players. You can invest into your management. And then it's just this cycle.
Yeah, it's like a snowball. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, because now you're winning. More money's being spent by the fans. You're making more money as the owner. It's like the ultimate win-win. And I was thinking about it in business. It's the same thing. It's like, dude, if I can invest in my employees and get the top talent and, you know, hire the free agents and, well, we don't trade, but
imagine if you did trade.
Yeah, I'll take him from your company and we'll trade. I'll give you a draft pick later on.
That would be.
Yeah.
I think you should start that.
I should start trading. Just get rid of all my schmucks.
You're helping people out. You're freaking out.
Yeah, Gabe. Hey, Gabe, dude. Gabe's doing the podcast. You're getting traded.
You're going.
He's the most valuable. Well, you know, MVPs get traded, dude. Chris will tell you. Okay?
I love it. I love this.
So, yeah, you know, but I thought about it. I'm like, I'm the owner, and I set the tone for the organization. I'm like, dude, am I willing to pay for the best managers and set culture and hire the best players? And, you know, if we do all those things, we should generate a lot of clients and customers, and then it just keeps snowballing.
Right.
So,
no, I think that's a great way to describe it. And I guess, you know, me not being in your field, really. I mean, I enjoy the investment part of things and like getting into obviously making more money. It's fun. You know, it is a huge gamble, and we are living in Vegas. It's like, but it's not like just going down to the slot machine and putting something in there. It's, you know, you have a more calculated risk. But no, I think the way you described it is great. It really is. You know, and I guess maybe we should look at it more like that too. I mean, it's impressive. I mean, and then you look at what you have here too. It's like, just this room too is like, you could just tell like you're bringing in really good people to like have such a cool product like this, and like,
yeah.
And then more people are going to want to come here, and obviously it shows with, you know, all your other stuff you got going on too, which is impressive.
Yeah. So that's the goal, man. Just friggin' hire the best people, put out a good product, and then, you know, everything else should snowball.
Yeah.
So what do you think, you know, as far as you're talking about investing and making money, like what are you interested in on the investing side?
That's a good question. Obviously I like the things we're definitely more of the conservative side right now. I mean, I feel like later on in baseball players' careers, when you can kind of get a little more risky, obviously when you have more money, but you know, I'm more the guy that likes to see money, and I don't like to see it go out. I like to see it steadily climb, but I do kind of dabble in some of like the private equity stuff, which is really interesting to me because I like getting behind certain, you know, I like to like you can feel a product, like you can invest in like a company or have a private equity deal in a company that you can actually see, whereas it's not just like this big old group of like 40 different companies, you know what I mean? And you don't know really what you're investing in. So that's what I really like right now. I know there's a lot of like crypto and stuff like that. I'm not smart enough to even dabble in that like you.
Well, what about real estate? What are you doing on the real estate side?
Not much. I mean, actually my brother's really kind of interested in that, and obviously having more properties and renting them out and multiple streams of income. I think that's a great way to kind of get started, and super cool to hear from him, because I think he bought a place in Bryan Head, and right now is a great time for, obviously, the winter time, having a property out there, and he's
Airbnb
he just booked out for
Yeah.
so long, and I'm like, you know, that's awesome. I mean, if you can have people basically paying your mortgage on your place, that's a win-win. But real estate, I mean, it's just, I have a house and we're building a house and that's about it.
Well, it's funny because we were talking about that earlier. Like, for you, it's just always been like, dude, I just want to play baseball and freaking just be the best at playing baseball.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to worry about my investments, my social media. Like, just let whatever happens.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's a time too in my life too where I'd like to, because when you're done playing baseball, you're at your late 30s and you have the rest of your life in front of you. Like, I'm not just gonna be at the golf course every single day playing. Oh, I might be if I'm on the tour.
If you're on the tour.
But I want to like do stuff that's fun and worthwhile and like something that I can really get behind. And I don't know what that is. Maybe it's real estate. Maybe it's starting my own business or whatever it may be. But I certainly look forward to that day to really kind of find what I'm passionate about and like get going on that.
Yeah. How have you embraced like being a celebrity, man? Like, what is it like for you knowing that you got like all these social media followers, you walk around town, people recognize you. Like, how's that been a shift?
Yeah, that's the part of like being an athlete that no one can really warn you or like prepare you for. It just depends on how I guess big of a star you become. And me being the second overall pick and for a team like the Chicago Cubs
in
and
a
going
major
to
metro,
a huge market, a city where the fans are absolutely crazy about the team. It was kind of it was a shock at first. It was like, but I just like go back to like how I was raised and like just treating people with respect and like someone wants a picture, you do so politely. I mean, it's just like that's just my rules. Like, you just treat people with respect and like it all comes back to you. And it's like that's how I've really, all the fame and everything that's come with being a baseball player. That's how I've really approached just my life in that way, and it's really been rewarding for me.
Yeah. Have you ever wanted to invest in real estate, but you didn't have the time to find deals yourself? That's where Fundrise comes in. Fundrise is a crowdfunding platform that has transacted over $5 billion in real estate and has over 150,000 active investors. While many funds, like my own, require accredited investors, Fundrise allows anyone to invest with as little as $500. If you'd like to learn more, check out fundrise.com. Once again, that's fundrise.com. Are you looking to find off-market real estate deals? One of the best tools my team uses is Batch Leads. With Batch Leads, you're able to pull data, manage lists, and send text messages. On top of that, you can get nationwide access to the MLS to get pictures and comps. My team has used Batch Leads to get some of our best deals, so I know it works. If you want to start today, you can get half off your first month by going to batchleads.io and using the promo code Ryan. Once again, that's batchleads.io, promo code Ryan for half off your first month. Now, back to the show. 100%. It's funny, man, because I don't consider myself famous by any means. And I'm just like,
You got
I got a YouTube plaque.
What are you talking about?
But so like people will see me out at dinner or something right here in Vegas. And, like they'll say hi and like, obviously I'm nice and, it's cool. But it's just like, to me, it's just so wild. I'm like, I literally just like make videos, like, and like, that's what people really like. And then like, and I thought about this when I was playing baseball. I was never famous for playing baseball, but like, when you think about it, you're like, I just like hit a baseball for a living.
I just like run around the bases. Like, like I said earlier, like I go out to the field every day. I'm like, this is insane that there's this many people want to come watch us throw a ball and hit it. And like, but it's like at the same time, it's like, it just makes me so appreciative of like this life that I live, because there's so many people. I've seen so many teammates, like not teammates, just people on the outside where it's like, it kind of gets to them a little bit, and your head gets a little big, your ego's a little inflated, and that's just not the way I want to go about, playing this game. But it's definitely kind of a shock at the beginning for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk, since we're talking about mindset, man. This is something that for me has helped me in business and social media and stuff, is like going through the failures of baseball. Like, because no matter how good you are in baseball, you still fail way more than you succeed. And, I failed so many times. I've been released. I don't even know how many strikeouts I got. lots of errors, lots of strikeouts, lots of failure. And then, I go into business and baseball and, or business and social media, right? And you get people in the comments just hating and doing whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I've heard that in the stands many times, like, whatever. And so like it prepared me, and I've kind of become hardened to like things that probably should like really wear you out. Like, how do you deal with all the failure, the negativity, and all the things that come with this game?
Well, yeah, honestly, it's just like I say it a lot too, like in my like interviews and reporters always want to ask certain questions like this too, like because there's a lot of negativity with baseball.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of it is toxic nowadays with Twitter and I'm sure
Twitter's like the worst place ever.
Yeah, and I'm sure when you release this podcast, I'm sure we'll have plenty of bad comments in there. Maybe we should read them together. but it's just like I just don't look for it anymore. It's like I used to have like Twitter and Instagram on my phone and would be on it every day. And,
Yeah.
Just reading through like post a picture. What do people think about this? Or just like your Twitter comments just every day after a game. And it's like, why am I doing this? None of this is helping me. It's like if I have a good game and I'm looking at it, it's like it's just inflating my ego. But if I have a bad game and I'm looking at it, it's like, oh man, that really hurts. Like, so it's like I just don't look at it. And it's like I found that my life since I've stopped doing that has been so much more enjoyable, and just the game in general has been so much more enjoyable. And when I come home, to my wife and my son after a good game or a bad game, it's just so much more enjoyable. And that's how I want to live my life playing baseball.
Yeah, that's kind of the point I've come to as well, where it's like I love making videos and content, and obviously it's a little different for you because for me, like literally the feedback is right there. Like this is my version of the game. And I just stopped looking at it because like even though the majority of them are positive, like it's just the one or two that piss you off, and you're like, dude, I'm gonna kill this guy.
I thought this video was good, and like exactly. It really is like the handful of bad comments or whatever that could really get to you.
Yeah.
Like,
so I stopped looking at them too, and it's just like peace of mind is so much better when you stop worrying about what other people think.
Yeah, totally. I think one of my favorite quotes too, I forgot who said it. It's comparison is the thief of joy.
Right.
It's like when you're constantly looking at what other people are doing, what other people have, what other people don't have, and it's like you're forgetting what you have. And it's like I love every clubhouse we go in, it's like MLB Network is on, and it's like then you're watching the game and you're looking at, oh, look what this guy's doing. Oh, and they're only showing the highlights too, right? And it's always like if they're being shown, it's like a good game, and then you're watching it, you're like,
that dude's killing it.
You're like, hey man, like I need to do something, and then you look at yourself and you're like, oh, I'm doing pretty good too. So it's like I've been through all those situations in the game where I'm sitting at like in Milwaukee in the clubhouse and I'm just watching. I'm like, oh my god, this guy's doing so good. I gotta set my game up, and it's like that was like the worst.
That guy has nothing to do with me.
Right, that was the worst mindset I could put myself in before I go play a game.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you, dude. Baseball, I hated baseball for that, dude, because you have your rivals and your people that you want to do better than, and you're like, dang, dude. And it's like, that guy had nothing to do with me. Like, why am I even trying to worry about what he's doing?
Not at all. Not at all. And it's like, it's just such a dumb like mindset to put yourself in. And I'm glad that I went through certain mindsets in my career, but at the same time, like, I wish that never happened. Why am I a certain way sometimes?
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. So speaking of, preparing for games and, having success, like how do you do it at such a high level, like so consistently? Like, I say this all the time, like the most in business and other things and athletes, they do the same crap every day over and over again. And they're like, in baseball, to me anyways, I was like, man, the best players are the ones who just like are the most consistent. They stop a slump before it gets too crazy. They can adjust between pitches. They don't take a week to adjust. Like, how do you do it?
Like, I mean, what you just said there is, adjusting pitch to pitch, at bat to at bat, game to game. Obviously, pitch to pitch would be ideal.
Right.
But yeah, just going out there, because realistically, I'm showing up the field And before that, I pretty much did the same thing too. I woke up at the same time. I went and got Starbucks, and I did my thing, got breakfast, relaxed. I get to the field, and I pretty much do the same thing every single day.
162 days straight.
I mean, like, you look at someone who does that, and you're like, dude, you're insane. Like, what are you doing? But it's like, I do that just because when I do that, I know that I'm prepared for the game. I know I've done this plenty of times in my life to where, like, when I put my routine and do it, I know that I'm ready for the game. And then when slumps happen or, a couple of bad games, it's like you just fall back on knowing that you've done it before. Like, you've had success in business, and, like, you run through a rough patch. It's like, no, like, I've done this before. I know what I'm doing. It's just, a tough moment in time right here. And it's like, that's been my mindset my whole career, is just to know that, yeah, I'm a really good baseball player, and I've been through this before, and I've come out of it even better.
Yeah.
You know.
So does this happen for you? Like, it happened for me when I was playing, like, losing confidence. And, you go through good stretches where you're like, dude, freaking, this is going great, right? And then inevitably the rough patch hits, and you're like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. Like, that's how I felt, and I wasn't cut out for it. Like, I never got to the big leagues and made a career out of it. But I'm curious if high level guys go through those same thoughts.
Oh, totally. Every day. I mean, me and Anthony Rizzo, we were locker mates for every year we were there in Chicago. And the conversations that we would have before games, when we weren't going good.
Yeah.
It just like cracks me up. I get all giddy thinking about it, because it's like it's like we're just sitting there, like, getting dressed for the game. Like, I'm the worst baseball player ever. Like, and it's like, dude, like, you're a 3-time All-Star World Series champion, like 5 Gold Gloves, and, like, I look at myself too. I'm like, why? Like, but the self-talk that baseball players put themselves through sometimes is like, it's the most crippling thing in the game. Is like what you're telling yourself before you go into a game, before you go into a bat, or when you go out to the field. And but no, I still have those thoughts. I've gotten past the, like, part where am I cut out for this, because I know I'm cut out for it. But
right,
there are always doubts in your mind when going up face a guy like Chris Sale, and you're like, I got no chance. I can't see the ball. He's throwing the slider on my back foot, and I'm probably gonna swing at it. It's gonna hit me.
Yeah, it's gonna be really embarrassing.
Really embarrassing. I'm gonna walk back to the dugout, and everybody's gonna look at me and probably like, what's he swinging at?
Yeah, dude. I just remember, having those thoughts, and you get through them, and then it's just like, for me, the game of baseball was so much highs and lows of, like, man, it was so hard for me to stay centered and calm. And I would see guys who it just seemed like on the outside, like, this dude doesn't get phased. Like, if he's going good, he ain't out there yapping, talking about going good. And if he's going bad, he's still like, dude, friggin' throw me up there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go hit a homer.
I'm convinced that there really isn't a player like that.
Yeah.
I don't think there is, because, just the going through this and talking to a lot of different players from the Dominican Republic, from all areas of the world, in different walks of life. I feel like baseball players are just, like, cut out of the same cloth. Like, we all have the same thoughts, and but I don't know. There might be certain guys make it look super easy.
Like, Mike Trout probably feels like that.
Yeah, I guess he might be on a whole nother level, and he might, because I've actually had a few coaches who have coached him. Everybody always wants to ask about Mike Trout, and I still do. And we're just like, hey, well, like, who's this guy? And they're like, he's like, just giddy every day, just walking around smiling, like, just like, he makes the game look so easy. But I know deep down, like, he's got the same thoughts as everybody.
Yeah, because you look at him from the outside, and you're like, Mike Trout is not having a lack of confidence. Like, that fool. Even if he has a rough patch for him is probably, like, he's only playing like an all-star.
Right. Yeah.
And
right.
You're like, he'll figure it out.
It's. I mean, I love that he's in our game. Just like such a good guy for the game too. I mean, but yeah, he's like the guy that just walking around smiling, like, I'll just go out there, hit another homer, and come back. And but I'm sure it's super hard for him too, because it's not an easy game at all, and you know that.
Yeah, well, and even for a guy like him, right? So much individual success, and he's been vocal about the Angels not having the success, right? And so it's just like, yeah, maybe he's got to figure it out for him, but man, it probably eats him up. Like, dude, freaking, what else do I got to do?
Totally, yeah. I mean, and they're a good team. They really are. And I feel bad for him. I really want to see him get in the playoffs and win a ring. And certainly a guy like the career that he's had so far, he certainly deserves to get that opportunity. And I bet he does. He does.
I wonder, because baseball is so failure driven, that if other athletes have it easier. I've thought about this like with basketball, where it's like they don't have the things that baseball players have with like the prolonged slump. It's like, dude, LeBron, I don't know if LeBron's had a slump, dude. He just like, he's always just crushing it. And same thing with football, man. It's like Brady. Does Brady ever think like, I don't know, man. To me, it doesn't. Like, that dude just crushes it all the time.
That's such a fine line for me to walk too, because, certainly the work that, NBA players and NFL players put in to get to where they're at is huge, right? But I think every baseball player has had that same thought, where it's like, I don't like, you go out there and you shoot 45-50% from the field, have a good game, and just move on. And it's like, more often than not, you're gonna do that. Like, LeBron is more often than not going to go out there and do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that he hasn't had his failures or struggles or whatnot, but man, I look at other sports compared to baseball, and then you see a guy that's like over 30.
Yep.
And you're like, he's just going through the ringer right now, and the thoughts in his head.
Yep.
He's walking up to the plate, and he knows that he just has no chance right now.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you give me the ball, I can chuck it from 3-point, and I might make one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, and I think too, baseball and golf both just have so much idle time to think.
Yes.
Whereas
yes.
those sports don't.
Yes.
You're just like always on the go.
Totally. I mean, and that's probably the biggest thing for them is like they miss a shot. There's not enough time to even think about that. They just missed it because they're good. Like, I watched Steph Curry the other night. Like, I think he missed the shot to like basically tie the game like late in the game. And then the ball came right back to him. He got it and he shot again and he made it. It's like he just didn't have enough time to think about that shot that he just missed. But like then you talk about golfers and it's like, yeah, they're in the same realm, I think, as baseball players in terms of mindset and failure and just in your own way. Definitely.
Yeah, because obviously golf have it worse.
Why am I playing golf then?
Yeah.
Like, it's like I already put myself through this during the season. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go play golf for fun, and I'm gonna do the same thing to myself in my off season.
I'll say like business has been a lot easier for me because we don't have like those instant feedback decisions of you did right or you did bad. Like, because we're so long-term thinking in business that it's like, I do something today. It's like, okay, I probably won't see the reward of it for a while. Right. Like, investing takes time.
Right.
Like, hiring the right person, I don't know if I made the right hire or not until months or years down the road. And so, like, it's actually easier for me mentally in business because I don't have this instant feedback of you did it or you sucked, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, like, you just go through a bunch of wrong decisions in a row where you're like, dude, I for sure know I suck. Like, I just have time to like see it. And then you're like, because what's the saying is time heals all wounds. And so you're like,
Does it? I mean,
so
no, I get that. I mean, for me too, it's like your game, your baseball, your at bat, it is so instant. But then you look at the whole like aggregate of your career, and it's like the work that you put in to get to like a career slash line, and like how many home runs you've hit in your career, how many hits and stuff like that. It's like in the moment, it might feel like the world is ending. Or the world is just, or everything's great. But then you just like, you expand it over your whole career. And it's like, you can look back and be like, I'm pretty proud of like what I've done so far, just based off of like the whole aggregate of everything that has put together my career.
Yeah.
So I try to, like, when I'm going through like kind of a rough time, it's kind of like, this sucks, but I've been here before. And then I just like look at the back of my baseball card. And it's like, that's pretty impressive what I've been able to do.
Yeah. Yep. Go look at highlights. Go watch YouTube.
Yeah, right.
I'll
probably end up getting like like the suggested YouTube. They're probably listening on my phone, so I'm probably gonna have all your podcasts everywhere on my YouTube channel.
There we go, baby. Just share it in the clubhouse.
I'll give you a feed.
There we go.
I'll give you a view. I mean,
a view. Unfortunately, no views are like more valuable than the others. So, still just
maybe
one
I
view.
can subscribe and get you
There we go.
What do we got? What do they do? What do they do now for YouTube? Like every million or 100?
They give that one's 100,000 plaque. Then they give you your next one at 1 million, and then
That's a big jump.
I know
Like,
it's like
come on.
it's like getting your you get to the big leagues, and then it's like, yeah, your next one's when you're retired.
Yeah, right? Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They need to give me a 200,000 or 200. Just like give us
That's
something.
fun, though. That's fun. You got all your baseball trophies over here. And
Yeah, we got some baseball jerseys over there. We got some memorabilia. I try and have some relics to remind me of the tougher times.
oh, there you go. Well, you got 3 jerseys up there. Just look up there.
Yeah, exactly. So, what do you think? As you go into this next half of your career, right? Like, how do you view it? You're going to sign with a new team. You're going to, obviously still try and accomplish big things. I mean, I know your mindset's not going to shift of, now I can go coast. I'm gonna sign a big contract and chill. Like, you're gonna still try and win the championship, win an MVP.
Yeah. I honestly think the best of like my career is yet to come, just based off of like, rookie year, early on in your career, you're up. You're just like,
You're figuring
kinda
things
there.
out.
You're figuring things out. You're figuring out how to act. You're figuring how to approach certain games, certain teams, certain pitchers. And now that I've had so many at bats and facing teams over and over and over again, you kind of know what they're going to, how they're gonna attack you. And you just kind of fall back on that. So it's, to me, in a way, it's very exciting to know that I've had so much history in this game, so that I can really use that towards my future. And I look back on a lot of things that I've been able to accomplish in the game, and I've always, like, anybody can do it once. You know what I mean? It's like, Bryce just won his second MVP. It'd be really cool to win 2 MVPs.
Yeah.
I won a World Series. It'd be really cool to win multiple World Series. That is the motivating factor for me, is to continue to do great things in this game.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think I'm curious to see like how you adapt as you get older, right? And your body changes. Like I like to listen to LeBron's interviews. LeBron, if you guys can't tell, LeBron's my favorite player. But like he's talked about that. He's like, yeah, I might have lost a step, but my mind is like 1,000 times stronger than it was 10 years ago. Like I'm more lethal today.
Right. Yeah. And it, like in baseball too, you look at like a guy like David Ortiz or Manny Ramirez, or people who've had success later on in the careers, and it's because their mind was in a different spot. They were one step ahead of the pitcher, and it's like, yeah, maybe their body's a little slower, maybe they don't have the bat speed that they had in the past, but it's like they could really outsmart you. And I think that's or like Albert Pujols too. Like, I know he's really really getting way up there, but just like how he's able to like formulate an at bat and approach off of certain pitchers. Like, just talking with some of the guys in the Dodgers too, in at the All-Star game this year, they were telling me just how good he's been for them, and how he really opens their mind and how they approach the game in certain at bats off of certain pitchers. And it's like, yeah, like that's what I can't wait to get to in that point in my career, where I can really help younger kids deal with whatever it is, an at bat, fame, failure,
Right.
everything that we've talked about today.
Exactly. Yeah, it's interesting too. I remember when you were coming up, and actually I think I remember this in high school too. Your dad was basically telling you to hit fly balls and like swing up, and like all these things that were so controversial back then. Because, like the old school way of teaching was like swing down on the ball, line drives, friggin' hit ground balls.
Right.
And you always came up with this fly ball approach. And then all of a sudden, like, I don't know when this happened, maybe like 5 years ago,
Right.
everybody's
It was
just
like
like,
a click.
yeah, hey, we don't hit ground balls anymore.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's trying to hit a bomb.
Right. That's insane to me. Like, I feel like early on, like, I kind of reading the Twitter comments and people in responding to how I would give those answers. It was like, oh, he's just trying to hit fly balls. It's more like you're driving the ball in the air, because the outs are on the ground in the big leagues. And when you're growing up, little league, club ball, your coach is always telling you, hey, hit the ball on the ground. Well, because the kids aren't going to make the play when they're that young.
Yeah.
They're just not. It's hard. It's a hard game. But then when you get older and you get into college and in the pros, you hit the ball on the ground, you're going to be out. So my dad was definitely ahead of the curve when I was 8 years old trying to hit home runs because maybe it wasn't super beneficial for me then, but later on it would really help me out, and it did. And you know, he got some heat for it too. You know, you had the club ball dads always talking, and you know how, and just club sports in general, how crazy some parents can get. But I'm happy I stuck with that approach.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Well, for those listening, right? I know we're talking a lot of baseball stuff. So if you're a baseball fan, you know what we're talking about. But if you're thinking like, how can you apply this to your business or your life or whatever? It's like when you look at baseball today compared to 10 years ago when it's been 10 years since I got drafted. I'm freaking old, dude. So, you know, you look at 10 years ago, it is so different in just the span of 10 years. Like you talked about ground balls and why they're bad. Well, today's baseball game, they have so much data and analytics that they know exactly where to put the infielders. And so, like, if you watch a baseball game, you won't know who's playing what position.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody's in some random new spot on the field that just so happens to be where that guy always hits it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if, like, you used to get a hit there because you're always taught, hey, hit it up the middle. Like, that's great. That's always a hit.
Always.
Like, not anymore.
Not anymore.
And like that's one way the game's changing. Like another way is, you know, it seems like to me everyone throws freaking 100 now. And back then it was like I remember in high school it'd be like, man, if a guy throws 90, like that dude is a dude. And then in college it'd be like, dude, that guy can hit mid 90s. Like it's nuts. And it's like, yeah, you're a scrub if like
you better be spotting it. You better be super control guy if you were throwing 93 nowadays, I feel like.
Yeah.
Or have some really crazy like spin that carries through the zone or a really crazy funky delivery.
Yeah. Well, and you just see that's in the span of 5 to 10 years how much the game has changed. And so like, you know, hitters are now saying, well, we're not going to hit ground balls then because it's an out either way.
Yeah.
Right. And like, so they try to hit fly balls and, you know, pitchers are just finding ways to throw harder and harder. And like, I see that happening in business too, all the time. It's like, dude, the way that I got real estate deals 5 years ago is not how I get them today. Like, it's way different. And if you don't adapt, you're pretty much out of the game.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, guys nowadays are throwing more fastballs up in the zone because
you were never taught to do that.
Never. It was always like, let's sink it down to try to get the guy to hit a ground ball.
Yeah.
So it's like, as a hitting coach, it's like, why would you want to do what the pitcher wants you to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I want you to ground ball if the pitcher wants you to do that?
Everybody wants the same thing.
I want to do the opposite. But nowadays, yeah, you do have to adapt to, you know, certain pitches that carry through the zone at the top of the zone that, you know, might sneak by your bat. But totally, yeah, in business too, life in general too. But I feel like for me in baseball, my core, my belief of getting a good pitch to hit the ball in the air to drive out of the park, that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm sure you have your own main core beliefs when it comes to the business side of things. Is like, yeah, you might have to adapt to certain ways how you get deals, but it's like there is a core element to, you know, how you go about your business.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. Like, you still, like, your core belief should never change. You should be always changing your minor beliefs of how to get to your core belief, right?
Totally.
It's like, dude, in real estate, the core belief is still I have to buy it under market value, like significantly.
Right.
There's no other doubt about that. And that will make me the most successful. It will make our company good. It's just like, how do I get there?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
There's certain ways you got to figure out the way to get there. But
Yeah.
just like in baseball, totally. How am I gonna get this pitcher today? There's gonna be a certain, you know, this guy does this a certain percentage of the time. We know the tendencies that he falls in certain counts and stuff. But how am I gonna beat him when I get him in a count that he favors or a pitch that he favors? How am I gonna beat that?
Speaking of that, you know, we're talking about data and analytics, which in business are important, but obviously that's trickled over into sports significantly. And it's easy on the defensive side when they're like, dude, just stand there. He's going to probably hit it to you. But on the, you know, offensive side, when you're hitting, dude, thinking about this guy's tendencies and thinking about what you want to do are two different things. Like, how's your mindset? Are you like trying to think about him and his tendencies? Or are you just like, dude, I'm just doing what I do and whatever he wants to do, I don't care? Or is it a combo?
Yeah, well, you always want to play towards your strengths and your hot zones and what you do well. But he's obviously playing to his strengths too. So it's like, the data nowadays in baseball is just insane. Like it's for both sides. Like obviously I feel like the pitchers have a little bit more of an advantage because they have the ball. They have control of what they want to throw, where they want to throw it. Whereas as a hitter, it's like you have to control what you swing at and what you don't. And sometimes the decision comes down to milliseconds, and that's extremely hard to do. But no, this year was really eye-opening for me in being on two different teams and seeing how, how certain coaches approach certain things. And it's like we're in the playoffs, facing Walker Buehler, and unbelievable pitcher. I'm surprised he wasn't way up there in the Cy Young. I thought he was going to win it. But just what he would do, like his in 1-1, like 1-1 counts, like how he would get so many guys to chase his slider off the plate. Like extreme, like 80, like crazy percentage. And it's like, we're not going to swing at that pitch because that's his strength in that count is that he wants to throw that pitch there. So that you have to play to your strength. So you're not going to swing at it. So he gets back to where I want the ball, middle in, sinker, down and in, any of that, whatever it may be that at bat. But yeah, I mean, it's
so in an instance like that, you're like, hey, if the pitch is away, I'm not swinging at all.
Don't swing at it.
I'm only looking in.
It's most likely gonna move away. If it's gonna be a slider, it's gonna be a cutter. If it is his four seam cuts a little bit too. But if it's a backdoor two seamer that comes back over the plate, you tip your cap to him because he doesn't do that a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So you see the tendencies that people fall into, and you form your approach based on that.
Yeah. So it's a combo of both.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, cool, dude. Man, I could talk baseball all day because I never talk it. But it's just cool to know that, man, dude, even at the highest level, when you've achieved the most success, like you still have the same problems everyone else has, the same, fault. Because people would be hearing this and being like, why would he ever have any doubt about his ability? It's like he's accomplished so much. And it's like, nah, dude, like in order to accomplish this much, I have to beat those same doubts that you have to go through.
Right. In order to be, I guess, yeah, totally. In order to be good at this game, and I don't know how it would translate to business, but I do have to doubt myself a little bit just to get myself back on the right track, and not just on the right track, but at a next level. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, you go through these cycles. I'm going to doubt myself, but I'm going to get myself back here. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to figure out what's going wrong, and my baseline's going to be higher. And it's just a constant, like, battle, like doubt, back on track, better. And it's just kind of, and you're just going up the mountain, and, I've been to the mountaintop. I've fallen down the mountaintop. I've been back on the mountaintop, but it's just constantly getting back to that mountaintop.
Yeah. I think you're just constantly facing adversity, whether it's trade rumors, whether it's, free agency, whether it's a slump, whether it's friggin', it's just a matter of how quick can you get out of all of those things.
Totally.
Cool. Well, dude, it's been great having you on the podcast, man. Appreciate it. I know that everyone listening got a lot of value out of just hearing that from a high-level athlete. And guys, if you want me to interview more athletes, definitely comment below and make sure you're subscribed. I had my boy Giannis DM me, and I need to get Giannis in Vegas because he's also a world champ.
That guy's a stud. Well,
yeah.
If he's on here, I don't know how we both compare, but he might be a cut above me. So good luck with that.
Yeah, but nah, dude, it's been good catching up with you, man, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode. Peace. Thanks for watching the Ryan Pineda Show. If you want to work with me, head over to ryanpineda.com. You can find my courses, coaching programs, and upcoming events. We also have free resources you can download, so head over to ryanpineda.com.